Hello and welcome back to Spin a Good Yarn. I am really pleased to join you today for another journal video. I mostly post content about my knitting podcasts, those kind of traditional formats, but I shared my knitting journal and people were really keen to see updates. So yeah, I'm going to get started and do a journal flip through. So I'm using the Hobonichi Techo as my knitting journal in the A6 size, and I have this linen stripe, I think it's called, cover that I got from Hobonichi this year. I'm just going to go through and let you know how I'm using it, anything that's different. So I am using the sort of year on a page just to mark off the days as I go through them. Then I've slightly changed this section, so I've actually made a needle library just here with some washi. Oh, that's my cat. And then I've used post-it notes that I've cut up to record where my needles currently are, because I thought that would be helpful. And then this little bit down here where it's the next year, I have included just 2 post-its so that I can mark my place and know what I need to do and include later on in the journal, so I kind of know then my to write. So then this is what my stash track is looking like, using it in practice, which has been really fun. So this column down here shows any yarn that's come into stash, and you'll see that I've only had one day so far. We are on the 29th today. I've only had one day where I've had, oh hello Foster, this is Foster, she's my pussycat. You may see her little tail come in and out perhaps. I've only had one day where I've had stash come in, so I had 200 grams come in, which was all gifted yarn, so I'll show you a little bit about that later on. And then my stash out is down here, and I have included both yarn and fibre because I have been spinning quite a lot in January. So what I've tried to do is just note the yarn like as I would know it. So I've put Mallard DK because that makes sense to me as to which is in the back, because I hadn't actually labelled them. I haven't yet added it all up, but for sure I know these are hundreds. So I have 100, 200, 300, 400 grams. So minimum I've had 200 grams down, but I've also had some mohair and lots of fibre and some advents. So yeah, fingers crossed I've had about 500 grams down maybe, but yeah, we'll see. Then last time I just showed you this project overview, and I was sort of having a little look at what this ended up looking like, and I have changed it slightly for January. So here's what I've actually settled on. So I have a key down the bottom that shows the projects that I'm working on throughout the month, and I also have spinning as just a project in itself. I haven't had sewing, but I would add sewing in just down here if I did sew. I have sewn on only one day, so I haven't included it. And then what I've been doing is using these little stickers as like a mood to say like how was my crafting day basically, and then noting where the knitting was a swatch, where it was a finished object, or where it was a new cast on. So I just get a sense of overall like how am I working on stuff. But I think it's really fun. Like you can see along here, like here's my chunky Mulene cardigan until I finished it, and then I really focused in on my Olga jacket through here, and like I just think that's kind of interesting to look at. Then I did actually remake my knitting and spinning plans and goals page. I just glued the 2 together because I wasn't happy with it. Actually glued these together and just reworked it, so just to make them a bit clearer. So we still have the same 9 goals, and if you're interested in what they all are, feel free to check out my last video. But I did manage to achieve one in January. I did go to my first Spinners and Weavers Guild meeting, and I really enjoyed it, and I have actually joined the guild. I also knocked it out of the park with my spinning. I definitely spun up more than 50 grams worth of fibre. And then getting into the journal itself, I think I'd maybe set up my January page last time, but what I decided to do was have like a mood board for the month, so kind of projects I was working on, spinning I wanted to do, yarn I wanted to use. And then this whip section I'm going to use slightly differently next month, but there's supposed to be whips coming into it. I actually did add the Olga, and I wish I hadn't. I wish I'd just kept that as whips like coming into the month. And then knitting plans could be what happens, like the Olga jacket could have been down there with a little marker on it. And then my breed study, I haven't actually had my fibre arrive for my breed study yet, so I haven't been able to start, but I am planning on continuing this format for February. And then we're just going to flip through my pages. I have noted whether I've knit, spun or sewn in any given day, and then I'm just writing on these pages any reflections I have on my making. I've been really enjoying using yarn labels and things as ephemera in my journal. It's been really good fun, and also like printing out my own photographs of my stash on my yarn. And here's what a finished yarn page looks like. So I did decide to make a whole spread for this yarn. I didn't actually do it for the Mother Owl, which I have also spun up, but it just gives the details there of what the yarn was like. Maybe if I'm stuck on a spread, maybe I will do it for the Mother Owl, because it would be nice to have them all in here. And again, you can just kind of see how I'm working on stuff. Then this was my first finished project spread, so I did take 2 pages up on this one. I saved the yarn labels from what I used and the colours that I used to put a few details about the project itself, and then here are my thoughts on my chunky mulling cardigan. So here's where you can see I actually finished my Mother Owl, but I had pre-decorated this because I had this sticker and I really wanted to use it, so I didn't have space to put it in. But yeah, I think I will maybe try and find some space to do that if I get a spare page, or if I forget to journal one day and have a spare piece. This is one of my favourite spreads. I just really love it. It's just a little card label that I got from the post office, and some stickers I really enjoyed. I watched a really creepy film. I watched Weapons, and the tent scene really scared me, so I found that little tent sticker. And then these spread, you'll see that's my Spinners and Weavers Guild, so I got my gold stars and had such a good time. And then here I started reading some more romantasy, so I just thought those were perfect for kind of that vibe. I've actually been reading Throne of Glass for the first time. I really love this spread as well. So the gifted yarn was from Oliver Negra, and my mum went to Porto and bought me a couple of skeins of souvenir yarn back, which was amazing. So yeah, I have 100 grams of 250-gram skeins from Oliver Negra, and I also had a late Christmas present turn up from my mum that I didn't even know I was getting, which was a nomadic yarn skein. So that was the sticker just from that acquisition as well. Again, this was the day I did some sewing, and I also just wrote a little bit about my journaling practice and kind of like getting into the art of journaling as well. And this was actually like repair sewing rather than like garment sewing, but it was still really fun to just use my machine and like, I don't know, like use it as a skill, but also use it as something that feels like a normal thing. Like I think it was Lena Norm's video where she talked about sewing being like having a lawnmower in your garden, that if you have clothes you should have a sewing machine, the same way that if you have grass you should have a lawnmower. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of what I thought. And I did put some buttons on something that had lost its buttons, which had been annoying me for such a long time, and I just repaired some curtains. So yeah, that's that little spread. And I then started to spin up some new fibre as well. Then I had a really hard few days. So my son had croup, which they get so many like odd illnesses, but basically it means that he was poorly. I'm poorly now, so I'm trying to edit out the sniffling, but you might hear that I sound quite coldy. But I think it's probably flu. I might have flu, who knows. He was just really struggling with his breathing. He was really wheezy, and I ended up having to be in with him and sleeping with him and have him in like a little blow-up bed with me because he was just so upset. So yeah, I didn't get any sleep basically for these days, and I didn't make much of anything. And then this spread, I was writing a little bit about my my pen, so my Pilot Kokune, which I actually got secondhand from Vinted, and it's been so much fun to use a fountain pen again. I got into fountain pens, or used fountain pens the whole way through school. I didn't write with anything else, and I just fell out of the habit. I ended up using, so my previous favourite pens were these ones, the Uniball Eye Mitsubishi pencil ones. So these are rollerballs. I've used these ones for a really long time. I think the like liquid of the ink has that fountain pen feel that I liked, but yeah, I stopped using them at uni, I think, just because I don't know, just because life. So yeah, it's been really nice to write with a fountain pen again. So I just was writing a little bit about what I was making, but also like reflecting on having had my new fountain pen. And yeah, just included a few little bits from this Hobonichi as well. And then here's where we are now. So this was yesterday, and I spent some time yesterday thinking about my stash and what I had, and that was just kind of like a bit of reflection. And this is today, and I've knitted a little bit, but I haven't really made much today, so I will fill this in later today. I think I might be staying with my mum tonight, so I think I'll take this with me, which is why I've pre-decorated, to save me having to do that. So yeah, those are my daily pages. Hopefully that's been fun to have a look at. And then we'll go through the back and just see what looks different, what looks the same. So this is the index. I have included some more subtopics since you've seen this last. And then this is my stash. So this is really fun. This is like how I've used each skein of yarn that I've had. And I'm using the half stickers to signify that there's some leftovers. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to record that like later on in this journal. I haven't quite decided yet. I do have some spare pages that I can use, and like here, I'll talk about this later, but you might be able to just notice that this is actually not, this is a paper stuck on top of a piece of paper, and I just cannibalized that paper from another Hobonichi that I have. But anyway, so yeah, I've just kind of marked that to be like scrappy quantities, but I do count that as used up. It's been used up in the project I bought it for, and it's no longer a whole skein. So yeah, it's kind of fun just to see those little projects being used up throughout. I haven't touched any of the scraps so far, and I did think like this space might have been where I put more scraps, but it's not going to be enough. I think I know that, and I need someone else to record that or accept that it's recorded here. But then I don't know whether I get like 2 gold stars if I use up the scrap, or anyway, yeah, I think I might make like a 2026 scraps page later. Then I've been knitting a lot of my advent. It's been so much fun. So I've used up the first 6 mini skeins and one of the next 6 in the cluster. So 1 little gold star. And then spinning, I've spun up 200 grams of these two, so like 100 grams each, and 100 grams more than that, actually probably 150 of this Coroney. But yeah, I will gold star that when I finish. So I've been spinning loads, which has been really fun. Then I have included some actual items in my wish list. So I know I want to prep a fleece this year, so that's on there. I probably should also put like the stuff to do that. I hadn't really thought about that. And also when I went to the Guild, I think I need to get a battery pack for my Ashford. I was like squashed into, you can't really tell in the picture, I was like squashed into the back corner of the room because it was the only place that had available power, and everyone else with the e-spinners had battery packs. So I think that's the way to go. Yeah, you can't really see, but like I was right here and the whole room is over here, and I just like to be able to sit wherever I want, really. So yeah, I do think I'm going to buy that pretty soon. Then these are my acquisitions. So this is the yarn, as I mentioned, that I was gifted, and I did also get another pair of the Chiagu's, the 4mm needles, because I had a needle checked out in that size on my library already, so I didn't have another to cast on the Anthology throw. And because the Anthology throw is like a longer term whip, I didn't want to be like swapping between the two. I think I just find that annoying because it'd be for such a long period of time and such like common needle size. So that was my acquisition in January. Then I've moved a hibernating whip to the frog pond. I kind of wish I'd flipped these 2 pages, but they are what they are. And I did frog my seasons cardigan. I just hated knitting the band with DPNs. And I think I'm going to knit the seasons sweater, like basically the same pattern, but just so I don't have to do the picking up stitches. And obviously I could knitting it at the same time. And obviously I could pick up stitches, but I think that the ribbing didn't look as neat as the fisherman's rib does with my hand spun, and the sweater has like less of that, like it's less in your face, because obviously the cardigan, it runs down the front. So yeah, that's my plan. Then new skills, I did manage to do inchworming, so like really tiny little spinning, short forward draw to spin some Angora, which was really good fun. This is my YouTube tracking, so we just see my views. I had loads of views on this video, so yeah, I think like on my planning video. So yeah, that was really interesting. I smashed it, went way beyond 4K. I've uploaded 3 videos this month and I have just over 1,000 subscribers, 1,300. So yeah, it might be a good time to mention that like still 60% of people who watch my channel don't subscribe. So if you'd like to watch more content like this, do consider it. And then this little marker is just like the video ideas I have for the month, and this is actually what we're filming now, so I will swipe that through. I might need to ink this pen up again. Yeah, so that's that flip through, and then I wanted to film a Breed of the Month video, but obviously it hasn't arrived yet, which is a bit of a shame. This looks the same as it did. And then I added these pages, and this is where I think I may put those 2026 scraps. So I thought it'd be fun to have a hand spun stash page, just to record the yarn that I've made throughout the year, because it does go into my Ravelry stash and it feels like it should be in here somewhere. And then this might be where those scraps go, because I think this is more of a generous size. Thinking back that my whole like main stash is 2 pages, like I kind of feel like 1 page will be okay. Yeah, we'll see. Meters knit and meters spun, so just recording that as I go. And then these are my pattern notes. I am rating them as I finish them, but I've input a few that I'm working on in a minute. And then my media list, I'm just reading that one through. Maybe it might be fun to talk about my 5 stars. So I loved Mickey 17, I Swear, All Caught on the Western Front I watched for the first time, and Train Dreams I watched last night and it ruined me. Yeah, so those have been fun to watch this month. Not a lot on here. And I think we're making our way to the end now. Yeah, so this is just my maker's notes and then my daily making challenge. And I have actually made something every day in January so far. So yeah, hopefully it's been fun to like see this flip through and talk about knitting and journaling. I do have a journal ecosystem now. I have a memory keeping journal, a bullet journal, which is my Hobonichi Weeks, and the very beginnings of a commonplace. So yeah, maybe if you guys are interested in seeing some other journaling content, let me know. But yeah, totally fine if you're just here for the knitting content. I understand that too. Hopefully you're doing well, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye.